Yo, what's up guys? Chase the Bro here, and welcome back to another Elden Ring update video. Today, on the official Elden Ring Twitter, they announced that they're going to be releasing the Colosseum style duel arenas tomorrow. This is something I really thought would be coming out in a DLC, so it's a very big surprise, but a very welcome one. So come forth warriors and bask in the glory of the Colosseum. Prove your worth in various duels and battles, together or on your own, in the free Colosseum update coming December 7th. So we just get a free update tomorrow for the arenas. That's amazing. Let's just check out the trailer together here. Alright, so just showing a little bit of the co-op first. Entering the arena. Alright, so it's going to have the standard 1v1s. I was really wondering what modes would be added to it as well. If we're going to get the 3v3s, that would be amazing. If we're going to get brawls. Oh, we're going to be able to use the Spirit Bell. I wonder if that's a mode or you're just able to use that in general in the arenas. Oh, yes. 3v3s. That's what I really wanted because, you know, the player limit is 4 in Elden Ring, so I honestly wasn't expecting 3v3, but that's amazing. Maybe in the future they will up the player count. But yeah, that comes out tomorrow. All right, well, we know what we're going to be trying out. Going to be trying out some Elden Ring 3v3s and 1v1s, of course, but having 6 players is really what I've been wanting. The 6-player dynamic just changes the PvP in such a good way. I find it so chaotic. There's so many different builds that can work in team settings. For those of you who aren't really familiar with prior Souls games and how the arena works, I actually have some background gameplay from a really old arena with viewers that I did quite a while ago, but it's still something that can give you an idea of how the arenas are going to work in Elden Ring. So they would allow you to queue up for things like 1v1, 4-player brawls, 6-player brawls, you could have 3v3 battles. There were tons of different options, and I think the Elden Ring arenas are going to be very similar to this. In Dark Souls 3, whether you chose to invade or do arenas, you could easily have the 6-player count, so you would get things like 2 invaders and 4 people co-oping together, so you could have a really chaotic situation in invasions. In Elden Ring, however, though, we only have a 4-player count, so it's really interesting that they're going to have the 3v3 addition to the arenas. I think it's one way that the Elden Ring player base can experience the 6-player limit, and I think they're really going to enjoy it. It adds such a different dynamic to the battles. You can have one player dedicated healing your team, 2 be like tanks. You can have so many different setups that are more like RPG team battles. I think the Colosseums are really going to inspire a lot of people to try the PvP as well. As you know, in Elden Ring, if you don't want to be invaded and you're not summoning a friend, you're not going to be invaded in general, since you have to use the taunt or tongue option to get some PvP at all now. So having a mode like this dedicated to the PvP, I think will bring in a lot of the player base that has never really wanted to try any of the PvP in regards to being invaded. Whereas this is something you queue up for. You can do it with friends. You guys can go up with organized teams. You know, you can make a whole bunch of different RPG teams up. Try out a bunch of different builds. I think this is going to add a lot of variety to the PvP as well. I know I personally will use the arenas all the time. In the prior Souls games, I would use them for showcase videos so I can queue up for the 1v1s there, get random opponents constantly. It was a good way to get variety battles because if you are fighting and dueling at the arena that we have currently in Elden Ring that people have just agreed upon in front of Liurnia, you kind of get the same opponents often, which is cool. It's nice to see friendly faces, but it is really nice to have a huge player base that you can just queue into, get random battles at the ready, not have to go look for summon signs that may or may not be there. In fact, I bet a lot of the player base doesn't really even know where to go to look for any red sign duels. A lot of people put their sign in front of the main academy gate in Liurnia, but if you haven't really heard that, it's really hard to find red signs, I would say, to duel. Whereas the arena is just going to be there for everyone. I feel like it's going to be a lot more active. People queuing up for 1v1s, 3v3s, I think are probably going to be the most popular at first because people in Elden Ring haven't even experienced a 6-player PvP count. So we don't know what that's going to be like yet, but I'm extremely excited to try it myself. I also have to say I'm a little bit intrigued to see how the Spirit Calling Bell is going to work in PvP, since we haven't really experienced it, as you cannot use the Ash summons when you're involving yourself in multiplayer in Elden Ring. It'll be interesting to see which Ashes are the best. If there's a mode entirely for that, I don't know if they're just going to allow you to do that. If so, in 3v3s, it's going to be pretty chaotic, everybody having a Spirit Summon on top of the 3v3 battle. Could get pretty interesting. I'm intrigued to see how that's gonna go, honestly. I have to admit, I personally haven't really used the Spirit Ashes, even in the playthrough. It's just not something that I thought to do because no other Souls games had it, and I never had any incentive to really do it. But this could make some team battles interesting. I could picture a whole team of casters with their spirit summons just kind of tanking for them. It could make for a powerful setup if it actually works. This also has me wondering, there is multiple Colosseums around the Elden Ring map. So I wonder if they're all going to be different map locations for the battles. Dark Souls 3 had many different maps that you could choose to duel in, or you could just queue up for any of them at random. So I wonder what they're going to do by having multiple Colosseums, if they're all going to link to the same queue of battle, which I really hope so, because that will just make the PvP better if all the maps have the option to be queued at the same time. Or you can pick specific ones yourself if you do enjoy other maps better than others. You could do that in Dark Souls 3 as well. So if they follow the same system, we're going to be able to just either queue up for all at random, which is usually what I do. You get faster battles that way. Or you just queue up for specific maps that you enjoy personally. This also really does give me hope that they may increase the player count in general in the future, because one of the better things about Dark Souls 3's PvP is that you could have the 6-player count in invasions. Honestly, it made for a much more interesting invasion setting. You wouldn't always be going into 1v3s or just 1v2s in general. Getting a co-invader in Elden Ring kind of relies on your opponent, for one, using the Taunted Tongue, and two, not summoning a second friend. So they kind of have to just set up their own 2v2s, where Dark Souls 3, you would have a 4-player team, which I loved fighting against. You know, you get in those scenarios where you're fighting 1v4, so difficult, but really exciting when you do pull it off. And you would always get a co-invader if they are Taunted Tongue. And it would just be this ongoing thing where either the team is constantly fending off invaders, or you just take down a 4-man team, and it just made for a really exciting PvP scenario. So this definitely does give me hope that it might be coming in the future, although I'm really happy either way. We can now queue up for 3v3 battles. We have the option to get really quick duels now that the arena is going to be on the scene. We won't have to constantly look for red signs to summon. So overall, the activity in PvP, I think, is just going to get boosted from this. The average player is now probably going to want to initiate some PvP of some kind, whether it be with their friends in the team setting or they go for the duels. Overall, though, very amazing update. I cannot wait to try this out for myself. The 3 versus 3 modes are definitely something I'm going to have to try out with some Souls friends and just try different builds that work in different team dynamics. Could be such a good experience. But yeah, just a quick little update I wanted to share with you guys that this comes out tomorrow. So unexpected. Really didn't think we'd get anything until after the new year, but welcome surprise. Thanks again for tuning into the update. I'll see you guys all soon with some arena content. Goodbye. Goodbye.